Welcome to Sharkie's Gaming Controllers. I'm Sharkie, and in today's video we'll be taking a look at the NubyTech Yu-Gi-Oh controller for PlayStation 2. So this is a cool Yu-Gi-Oh themed controller that features Yami Yugi. Now unfortunately I don't actually have the packaging for this controller, but I'll put some images up here so you know what it looks like. So essentially this controller comes in a minimum blister pack style. The thing is, it only really covers the center of the controller, so it's not very protective. So if you're looking to buy this controller and you end up finding one new, just be careful because it might not actually be too new. The fact that the packaging doesn't cover the whole controller means it's not very well protective, which means in most cases you find this controller having dents, scratches, marks, all kinds of damage on it already, even if it could be considered brand new. So just something to be aware of, and it's just unfortunate they didn't package it better because it is a really nice looking controller. I mean, just look at this thing. It looks really posh. So this is a PlayStation 2 controller. You can see the connector just there. It's got a really nice length of cable there. Should be plenty to go from where you're sitting to where your PlayStation 2 console is. Now looking closely at this controller, it looks awesome. I mean, just look at those awesome artwork in the center and the cool hieroglyphs that cover the controller. It looks really cool. So there's the top of it there, and the sides, and the back. It looks really cool. It's got these really awesome hieroglyphs just covering the entire controller. It's quite a striking with the kind of mix of gold and brown, and of course the pop of purple and yellow and blue in the center here where Yami Yugi is. It looks really cool. Now the handle here, you've got the Yu-Gi-Oh logo. It just is really cool looking. They've really done a good job. It really does look like a Yu-Gi-Oh themed controller. And it's actually much heavier as well. This controller looks pretty standard, but when you actually feel it, it's actually a lot more denser and way more heavier than you think it should be, which is actually quite nice. It gives it a much higher quality feeling. And holding the controller is very comfortable. These kind of grips fit in your hands really nicely, and you can sort of reach all the buttons and sticks really easily. It's a very comfortable controller to hold. Now moving on into these features. So first off, it's got a D-pad here. It's actually quite a nice feeling D-pad, and it works pretty well. In the center here, you've got the select button, start button, and mode button. And the mode button will light up red when you've got this controller plugged in and turned on. You've got two analog sticks here. They've got a nice rubber grip on the top of them, and these are quite a nice size sticks as well. The surface on top here is quite a large surface, and these also clip down. Now we go on to these face buttons. Now as you can see, these face buttons have hieroglyphs on them. I'm guessing that's something in the universe of Yu-Gi-Oh, but essentially you've got X, square, triangle, and circle. So either you need to memorize what buttons are what according to these symbols, just memorize in general which buttons are which, or just try and remember these symbols and just associate those to X, square, triangle, and circle. So it's quite a different approach. I guess they really were dedicated to the Yu-Gi-Oh theme. It's not even the colors as well, because these are all just yellow, so they've really just changed the face buttons completely to match that theme, which is kind of cool in one way, but yeah, just you better have a good memory in another, or just get used to this kind of style of buttons. But the buttons feel quite nice. They're a nice size and they are very responsive to use. Turning this over, you've got your bumpers and triggers, and these actually feel quite nice. They are more button-like, but they do feel really nice and are responsive. They're quite nice to game with. Now this controller also has another unique feature. Now it does have a vibration function, which most controllers do, but this has another feature to do with the vibration. So essentially when this controller vibrates, there's a lighting feature. Basically they call it like a glow feature. So essentially when this controller vibrates, this button will change to yellow, and the center of the controller here will light up. So it almost gives a Yami Yugi here almost like a backlight. It just sort of shines through the controller. It's quite a cool effect, and it's very hard to kind of see in sort of a light room. You've got to have a darkened room to see it. So what I'll do now is I'll show a clip of this in action in a dark room. So hopefully you'll be able to make out, because it's quite a cool looking glow effect. Overall, I think this is a pretty cool looking gamepad. It's got an awesome looking Yu-Gi-Oh theme, and it's actually quite a nice controller to play games with. It's very comfortable and all the functions work well. So I do really like this gamepad. I especially like how it's weighted. It has a really nice feel to it. I do wish the controller was a little bit durable though. It doesn't seem very durable because it basically scratches and marks very easily, but again, part of that is probably because the packaging is not that good. It doesn't protect the controller when it's brand new, so again, the controller's probably been through a few knocks before you even get to play with it. And it's also probably the way they've coated this controller, because you can sort of see a little bit of cracks in the finish here and there. So it's probably just the way they've designed it, but it is unfortunate because it is quite a cool looking controller. The other down point I guess you could say about this controller is the fact that with these buttons here, you got the hieroglyphs on the face buttons instead of the normal symbols. So you either got to memorize these hieroglyphs or just get used to which button is which. It's sort of a down point, but it also shows the dedication to the theme. They've made a controller that's a Yu-Gi-Oh theme, and they've changed everything, including the way the face buttons look. I mean, not many controllers do that, so I do give them credit for that, because it does look kind of cool and looks a bit different. But overall, this is quite a cool controller. I like using it. It's probably ideal for a Yu-Gi-Oh fan or collector. This thing would make an excellent collector's piece because it is quite rare. These controllers are pretty hard to find, especially in good condition. So that's just something to keep an eye out for if you're looking for one of these. Try to find the best condition you can, but don't be disappointed with some damage, because like I said, the packaging just does not protect these controllers well. So yeah, definitely something for a collection. It's an awesome controller to have if you get the opportunity. Anyway guys, that was the NubyTech Yu-Gi-Oh controller for PlayStation 2. If you liked this video, then please hit that like button, as it really helps out a lot. Don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss any of my new videos, as I'll have heaps more gaming controllers and accessories up very shortly. If you would like to support my channel, then click the join button down below and become a channel member. You'll get monthly perks, and the extra support really helps me out a lot. Thanks again for watching guys. I'll see you in the next one.